Welcome to this edition of The National. Today we profile Henri Rips, a 60-year-old Holocaust survivor who is now living in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. After many years, Paul has decided to share his story of what ended what he called his golden childhood. Paul's story started on May 10, 1940, when he was only 10 years old, and ended when Brussels, Belgium was liberated in 1944. Throughout these 4.5 years, Paul was transferred to multiple camps and faced the struggles that changed his life. Born October 29, 1940 in Antwerp, Belgium, Paul was the youngest of a family of 4. His father, Isidore Rips, is a successful diamond merchant. His mother, Fadja Rips. He also has an older sister named Sina. Following Germany's invasion on Belgium on May 10, 1940, Paul's family tried for escape in France. Living conditions in Antwerp were horrible, as Jews needed identity cards and were isolated from society. Despite multiple attempts to escape, Paul's family was caught at a demarcation line in Vichy, France. They were then sent to Dole prison. This would be the first of many struggles for Paul to face. The living conditions in Dole prison were horrible, as the Lisa's say. To make matters worse, Paul was separated from his mother and sister. Paul and his family were eventually transferred to a collection camp called Pithiviers, where Paul's father became very sick. On April 22, 1942, the family was expelled from France and sent back to Belgium due to Paul's father's bad health. The family's return to Antwerp yielded almost no relief, as the living conditions had grown even worse. Jews now had to wear the Yellow Star of David on their clothing, had a 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. curfew, and were being sent to a collection camp called Kaiser Dawson in Malines. On April 7, 1943, Paul's father died. This made things even worse. Soon after the devastating loss, the Gestapo, which is the secret Nazi police, began the initiative to remove all the Jews from Antwerp. Paul and his family had to rush to Brussels, where his mother had friends. Through a man named Mr. Perelman, Paul and his family were able to contact another friend named Charles France, who decided to hide Paul's family. This is the picture of the house that they were hidden in. Through Mr. Perelman, Paul was able to attend an underground school for Jewish students, a safe haven for Jewish students, as there were alarms and warnings for the arrival of German soldiers. However, one day, German soldiers arrived and began to interrogate the students. After constant questions and no right answers, the students were sent to the Citadel of Liège. After a few weeks, the students were sent to the collection camp called Kaiser Dawson in Malines, where interrogations were a daily routine. The commandant constantly asked whether or not they were Jews and would torture them if they thought he or she was lying. When it was Paul's turn, he listened to his father's words. This means, a pain of a slap will go away, but a spoken word will remain. He used this quotation to say no. He was then given a card that said E/96 on it, which meant his fate was undecided, thus the name of his book. In 1944, Paul was released from Kaiser Dawson. He was confronted by a member of the AJB who said that if he admitted to be a Jew, he'd be set free. Paul did not trust the man, but he took the chance and was set free. Upon arrival at Brussels, Paul was confronted by Mr. Perelman and then eventually his family. As the Allies started to approach Brussels, the Gestapo left. On September 3, 1944, Brussels was liberated. The Jews started to emerge from their hiding places, while the Allies started to free the surviving Jews. Although the Germans were gone, life for the Jews was not normal. People could not restart their lives as they were scarred by the memories. Paul and his family eventually moved back to Antwerp, but life was not the same. Paul missed his relatives that died in Kaiser Dawson, and especially his father. Paul decided to remain in Antwerp to work in the diamond industry, while his family moved to South Africa. In 1961, he moved there, got married, and had 2 children. Today, he is living in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, with his grandchildren. As we end the story of Paul's experience, we must acknowledge his struggles and understand that the Holocaust was no laughing matter.